Hi, I'd like to show you about my program UEFI download tool. It's been in development for around a year, and I remember all the way back in the first beta release how much it's changed and evolved. As the name suggests, UEFI download tool, it downloads UEFI, I guess, updates for you. UEFI, like the BIOS, and it downloads it. But not only downloads, checks, make sure you're up to date, make sure everything about your motherboard. So this is the tool to have for a custom PC builder, for sure. That's exactly why I created it. For the purpose of people who want BIOS updates, who want to know if they're up to date, they can always know. They can go in the preferences, turn on automatically check for UEFI updates, and set every hour, every day, every week, every month, or whenever you log into Windows only. And actually, a friend of mine actually gave me this idea. I wasn't really into programming that much, if at all. And then he gave me this idea, like, why don't you just make a BIOS update checker as like a joke, I guess. And it turned into a big project for me. It was something that I wanted to do. It just seemed like so cool if I could do it, if I can make it work for every motherboard from any company that I support. And it lifted off from there, and it just kept going into development for this whole amount of time. I've supplied updates and everything. Anyone who has used this before, they know about it all, like how the update procedure works, pretty much everything. But I'm making this video for everybody that didn't just look on the website I posted on. For anybody to see this video, to see what this is and know what it's about before they go ahead and get it. But pretty much, I'll just start off with basics. First tab you'll be on is the UEFI update tab. Has a little nice tooltip I included. This is here you'll be able to check for new UEFI updates for your motherboard. You have a last checked label up here, which will tell you the last date and time that you checked for updates. Then you have all this hardware information up at the top, what your current UEFI version is, current build date of it, your motherboard manufacturer, what your installed motherboard is, and what your serial number is, if you have a serial number. If you have a serial number like a laptop or something, it'll show up an actual code here. Then this label right here is like the status of what's currently going down, or what the status brings back, like say you're up to date. So if I go over here and click the check server button, this button will check for new UEFI updates for your motherboard. So I click it, it'll make sure my internet connection is online first, as you see, test internet connection, then it'll check server for new updates. Then it'll bring back a message telling me if I'm up to date or not, and how much time it took to figure it out. Then if you notice, these labels will go blue up here as it's checking. Then if you're up to date, it'll go green. But if you're not up to date, it'll go red. There's a nice little option over here in the preferences I included to spoof your version to 0, so you could always download an update from anything. But that'll be for a little later in the video. I'll explain this and what the spoofing does. But if I turn this on and go over here and check for updates now, then this will go red. And it'll say UEFI version, spoofed to 0. It has been spoofed. So now it'll think that there's an update. This release note, this is what it'll look like if you have an update. You'll have a nice little release notes up there, see what's new in this version. This is what's new in my version. Improve system stability. Then you also have the product link right here, so you can actually click on this to see where it's actually getting the information from. And it's getting it from this page, which is my motherboard. Target motherboard tells you what that is, so you make sure that's right. That's the link. What the server version is, the release date of it, December 11th. That's what it says on their site. And it says an available update has been found. Then you can go over here and download the update, but you don't have to spoof to 0 to download the update. You could still be up to date and you can still download it. Just so in case you want to mod the BIOS. You're already on, you can mod it, you can do whatever you want with it. The reason why I was saying you could do this to always have an update is it is in combination with the spoof. Because some different manufacturers have different numbering schemes, so it would think that your version higher than what you're trying to spoof is. So another option is for additional things. So if I want to download the update, I just click download the update button. That'll go ahead and tell you all this nice little information up at the top. Downloaded, out of how much, download speed, estimated time remaining, download link. I can click the download link, and so you always know what it's downloading, because this is exactly what it's downloading right now. Then you can also click cancel download button, it'll cancel this for you. Then whatever your settings are set up as, your download location, wherever that's at, it'll go ahead and put all this there. Then it would say extracting the file and extracting the file complete. So right now, it put it on our download location we said, which is the desktop, and put it in a UEFI update folder, which will have all UEFI updates in it. So if we were to spoof to something else and download a bunch of updates, they would all be included in here in one nice folder. So this is my BIOS file. And you've seen it open up this window for me. All this is configurable in the preferences. You can auto open the folder, auto extract the file for you, auto delete the zip. All that nice stuff, so you don't have to worry about anything. You just download it and that's it. So all I literally have to do to update my BIOS, if I have an update, is it tells me there's an update, I download it in the program, it gets done with it. Then as soon as it's done with it, I just restart, go into the ASUS BIOS, navigate to my solid state drive, and find that UEFI update folder, and I click it. That's it. I don't have to do anything else. So it's that easy. It just tells you there's an update. You can click yes, and wait till it's done, and just go to BIOS and update. You don't have to worry about anything. Which is really handy. So that's why I'm glad that I made this. Is so no one has to sit there and check a website each day to figure out, okay, is there an update? Or they don't have to go through all the shit of putting on a flash drive. Or, well, you still do have to do that on some BIOS that don't let you just go to the hard drive natively in the flasher. I think only ASUS lets you do that. But it still kind of does a bunch of automation for you without you having to, I guess, extract it or anything like that. It just kind of handles it. And it tells you up here how long it took. 37 seconds to download it. Then moving on, I was going to move on next tab, but I forgot one other thing in here. These two labels right here, motherboard secure check, automatic retry, says it's on, and motherboard secure check's on. Motherboard secure check is a feature I implemented in the program where it makes sure that you always get the correct BIOS file. If there's any mismatch found on the first thing it was trying to find, it'll tell you about it and ask you if you want to retry it. I'll demonstrate that later. But these are labels saying if it's on, because motherboard secure check feature I put in there is not on for Dell or Alienware for the simple reason of how their stuff works is you put in a serial number, and the serial number always is accurate to what you're getting. So that actual feature I implemented can't be used for Dell or Alienware because they already have that implemented into their site pretty much. There's no way to really mess it up. You can't really get a serial number wrong that's put inside a BIOS file. As for other things, they don't use that. So that's why if you go to Dell, you would see that it's off. Next tab is the Program Update tab, which will let you check for new updates for UEFI download tool. It's basic. Last checked. Version you're on, build date of it. You can check server. It'll check for a new build first. Then it'll check the server for a newer version. The reason it does this is because, you know, if there's a new build out, like if I have the same version right now and I release a new build update that just fixed something, if I release a whole new version, it'll find that build update and it'll tell you there's a build update. However, if I make a build update then release a version update right after that, it'll skip past the build update and just go to the version update because the version update is higher than a build. But usually I release a stable version update and then I release a few build updates after that of just some small things. So that's why that is. And if there's an update, you just will see the same thing as like over here, pretty much. You'll see like the version release date, release notes, and all the change log. Change log is what release notes pretty much is. Then you can apply the update and it'll go ahead and update itself. Then we have the Preferences tab. Checkbox automatically update UEFI download tool. If you have this on, it'll unlock this group box right here. You can do the same thing I was saying earlier about this. It'll automatically check for updates every hour, every day, week, month, or the Windows login. Tells you the update status right here, last check, scheduled time for checking. If you don't want that on, you just uncheck it. But as a user who uses program, they're more likely interested in this checkbox, automatically check for UEFI updates. So I already explained this earlier. If you change one of these, it'll change this down here so you can see, like, you know, change to 21, 27, January 20th. I'll keep them on every hour. Then there's a checkbox, automatically, will always download updates without confirmation. This will mean that if it finds an update automatically, that you won't have to say, yes, you want to download it. It'll just go ahead and do it for you. And the only way for you to know that it did it is you have auto open folder on, so you see the folder open, or you just kind of look in here or notice this folder's on the desktop. If you already had this folder on the desktop and had other BIOS files in here, you would just have to know. So this is for like people who want it to be silent. And not to mention every tooltip, well every checkbox or everything, a button, it'll have a tooltip where it's telling you exactly what it does. So even if my explanation isn't good enough, well, there's no explanation included. So I'm going to skip over this for now, because I already did that. Auto extract files will just automatically extract the zip. Like, these are pretty self-explanatory. Automatically retry on motherboard secure failure. Remember secure check failure? I'll have to get back to that when I get into the spoofing. Download location, pretty self-explanatory. You can type in here to change it. It'll give you suggestions on your disk. Or you can come down here and click this button and choose one like this. These buttons down here create directory or undo down location. If I type in something that's not a real directory, it'll go red because it knows that the directory doesn't exist, and these buttons will come enabled where you can create the red directory. You can click that, or you can just ignore it and it'll automatically create it for you. But say you change this up here and you didn't mean to change it, you can go down here and undo with this button. It'll put it back. So it always goes green when it knows the directory exists. Then these account settings right here, we'll get on the next tab and I'll show you about that. This account management part is for if you have an account on my website. Under the About, you can see my website right here. And I do have some problems with my host at the moment, and yeah, sometimes the host is bad because it's a free host, and I haven't got around to Ugain.com or paid hosting or something like that because I have other things that I have to worry about. So the past few days, my host has been a little bad, so I've seen offline. But if you had an account on my site, then you could go ahead and sign into it here. It has all these nice little features, tells you your display name, account status down here, has your profile link. If you click this refresh will refresh this page, sign you back in. So the account management part of the account settings are just settings that has to do with the account. Like automatically sync your settings, will just sync your settings. Automatically it'll download them when you sign in and then upload them whenever you close the program. That's what that'll do. Auto login will automatically log you into your account whenever you open the program. Then you ask for confirmation on file conflicts when syncing application settings. That's only enabled if you have this on. What it does is just it asks you, like, do you want to keep your settings or you want to go with the server's one if there's like a conflict and the files are not exactly the same. But usually you want to have that off if you just have auto sync on. You just want it to sync automatically and you don't care about if there's a conflict. Then you just want to always download from the server and always upload. This cloud sync is a part of the account settings. So you can pretty much upload your settings of the entire program into your account on the site. And you can delete them, download them, upload them, all that. So if I was to, say, download mine right now, it would put everything back to the way it was before. It was saved, like it'll move the window and everything. And that was the last saved. So now I'm going to get into like the rest of these tabs. About is just pretty much as you would think. About those your version, edition, build date, created by, email, copyright, little links like support, website, feedback section, so you can tell me if you like the program or not. And you can type a little message here if you want. Then there's a what's new part in here which tells you what's new in this version. Then you have an activity log, which will tell you pretty much everything you were doing. Now you can right click right here, and then you can click clear all of it. But it saves everything you did, like processing internet connection, what you were doing, like, you know, the download. I just downloaded an update earlier. 37 seconds as before, like we said. So I want to clear this all. I just right click clear, and then it's grayed out because you can't clear it if it's empty. And then I'll get down to here, like you have the live date and time right there. You have this tree view right here, which is like, I don't really know how to explain it. It's just you can click on all of these. This is the home. It'll say welcome to UEFI download tool. This is what it'll start off on when you open up the program. This has a little greeting message to everybody about certain things you can do. Then you have a system analysis part. You can click it, it'll tell you a bunch of nice little things about your hardware. It'll display them in nice colors. But over here there's a tooltip that says, you know, note companies, well, not a tooltip, a label, I mean. It says note, you know, companies have their own unique color. So ASUS, they have this color. American Megatrends has that color, Intel has this color, you know. All that. So companies have their own color. It's like NVIDIA. But other things are more of like rated on like the speed, if it was like good speed or bad speed. Sort of like the RAM. There's just a little thing I threw in there. It's like a low rating on the hardware almost. So for instance, if the RAM speed was 1333, it would be red. If it was 1600, it would be orange. 1866 or higher, it'd be green, as it is right now. Same thing for the operating system. If you're not on Windows 8.1, then anything below that will just be red, because it's pretty much out of date. That's what the color meant, like out of date. That's not the most updated stuff. Over here is the legend. It tells you what all the colors mean. The whole program is a complete color scheme. Blue helpful information, you know, green up to date, all that type of stuff. You have shortcuts, which will get you to places faster. Pretty self-explanatory. You have a download section. You can get ASUS AI Suite 2, 3, or the AMI UEFI flasher for flashing the BIOS in Windows or on DOS or whatever. You can minimize the program like that, or exit or restart. You can reset settings right here. So it'll reset it to default. Like if I reset settings right there, it turned off debug settings and everything. Then I download my settings again, and it puts it all back. You never have to worry about anything if you have an account. When you get into a new Windows installation, you just download settings. So that covers the tree view, this detail part. This just shows you all details and shit. Alright, so now I will get on to the spoofer section of this video. Explain everything to do with the spoofing. It's pretty much UEFI update configuration override. Group box, and you'll see a checkbox in there, spoof your hardware. So you check this, and you can select in here which one you want, like which motherboard manufacturer. I want ASUS, and then yeah, I want ASUS, and I go over here in motherboard model section, and you put in here what you want the spoof as. Say you really don't know what motherboard's called or something. You just know it's like a Z97 something. Well, motherboard secure check feature will let you, cycle through a few of them until you, I guess, can figure it out. As many as the search results on the page can handle. So if you see this is blue right here, it's blue because it's not saved yet. But if you click off it, it'll save it and it goes green. So that means it's saved. There's some right clicks right here. You can copy this whole thing. You can paste what's in your clipboard into this whole thing, and it'll like delete all this. Or you can clear the field altogether. Say I was clear the field and then do something else. It'll put it back to what it was if it was empty. You can clear suggestions, which will clear these suggestions. Like if I was to type this like Z or something, it would suggest to me Z97. So you can clear the suggestions right here. Like anything saved, it'll be in the suggestions. So I spoofed to Z97, and then I go over here and check server, and I gotta turn that off actually. But the reason it was giving us that message, I'll show you again. Like, reason it gives us this message is, because we didn't have anything matching on the server. Like, it automatically retried everything until it found the right one. The name Z97-K or whatever you're supposed to, which is Z97. It didn't find it, so it said it didn't match anything on the server. That's what automatically retry does. So it says installed motherboard is Z97, but target it found was Z97-E. They don't match. So you keep clicking retry, it'll keep finding more. It'll keep trying this if you click or keep retry until there's no more search results. And if it didn't match anything on there, like if yours doesn't match anything that was on the server, you get this message, which is the same thing we had with the automatic retry on. It's just like automatically retrying if I was having to click it a bunch of times. But say I want to get this one, I can just click ignore and it'll do that one. Then it'll say, do you want to keep this as your default one? Click yes and it'll straight spoof you to that. No, it won't. But it says I'm more updating the server. Well, the reason it says I'm more updating the server is because my version is like 24.01, and whatever version that motherboard was is like lower than this one. So what I was saying earlier about the spoof version of 0 in combination with this is what you want to use if you want to see the update information. So say I click yes on this, I want to keep it as default checking. Click yes and it will spoof it to this one. So then if I check next time, it'll just go ahead and do it. 501, that's what the server version was. Target motherboard Z97-E. So we see that this one was 501, which makes sense why our version 2401 would be higher than that. But as I said before, you don't need to spoof to download the update. You could still be more updating the server and still download the update, as we see right here. But we're not going to do that. But I guess we'll go ahead and do it anyway, so I can show you the two files in there. You see how there's two files in here now? Two different motherboards. You can just keep piling them up. And say we download this update again, just for some reason, and that file's still in there, it will replace it. It'll replace that specific file right there. And I could show that to you by Control A and delete. then watch how this is 0 kilobytes to 0501. 0 kilobytes over here on the size. So if I do that again, it will it'll go back to regular size, as we see right there, because it replaced it. But I would recommend getting rid of this stuff, unless you plan on using it for modding later. So say I want to do some ASRock. I want to do like, you know, Z77 Extreme 3 or something. And I want to spoof, actually. See, look at that. What do they have? They have this Montreal updates. So it brought me to the right page, pretty much. I can download the update from ASRock. That works. I can go to MSI and just pick some random board from their Z97 series. And here's the thing about that motherboard we just selected. It doesn't support UEFI updates. So I have implemented in here to where it will be able to know if the board supports UEFI updates or not. And this is pretty much telling you that it doesn't. And if we go to that link right there, like say we were to go with that link and search for that board or something, you see there's no BIOS section. So it does know, like, then if we want to try some Gigabyte, well, I actually didn't completely try MSI, forgot. That one doesn't support it, this one should. Yeah, 10.2. What is this? Improve memory compatibility and RAID Smart S3 resume function. So we can download it just like that. Let's try Gigabyte now. Also up here, I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but these labels up here, it says like ASUS spoof to Gigabyte and install motherboard, you know, Z97K spoof to Z97. It'll always tell you up here what you're spoofed to, so you know. So let's try this board. And latest updates F2, and that's first release apparently of that BIOS. Yeah, first release. Yeah, we can download it, obviously. And then we could try Dell. As we know, this gets grayed out right here. And this label's grayed out, because you can't use automatic retry if Motorola Secure Check is not enabled. And it's off, as I explained before. But for Dell, we need a serial code. I happen to know one. It's a Dell Latitude laptop, I believe. Yeah, Dell Latitude E6410 I can go to the product link. Yeah, we can download the update. It's like that's for Alienware. I don't remember the code for that one. But Alienware is pretty much the exact same thing as Dell because, as we know, Dell kind of bought out Alienware apparently. So they kind of use the same site now, so it's pretty much the same exact thing. But they're still two separate things and are like a link wise. But yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. Oh, as you've seen, there's no release notes for Dell or Alienware because they don't provide any changelog. So if I want to unspoof, as you see, all that stuff comes back up there. If I unspoof, then it doesn't say I'm spoofed anymore. I check for updates. I'm still spoofed to 0, so I have to undo that. And it'll say I'm up to date because I'm on the latest BIOS. I think that pretty much covers most of everything. So yeah, I did pack a lot of features into this when it, I guess, could have been really simple, but I wanted to make it a good program that people would want to use, that they wouldn't have any problems with, that it just worked. They didn't have to worry about anything. One thing I will show now is, like say if I have automatic check for UEFI updates or automatically update the program itself, if I have any of those on and I close the program, it won't completely close out. It will sit. It'll sit in here, and you can right click and click open or exit. But if you just click this, it does the same thing as that. And if it's open already and you click this, it just keeps making it active. What you could do also to get to come back is just double click on the exe file, and it'll just pretty much do the exact same thing. And that's what I do. I have it pinned in my taskbar, so I just click this and it brings it back. Or if you wanted to forcibly exit it from here instead of clicking this, you come down here and click exit, which will forcibly exit, regardless if you have this stuff on. The reason it sits in the background if you have the automatic things on is because you would want it to sit in the background if you had the automatic things on. Also, the automatic things do put it in your startup because you would want it to be in the startup to automatically check. Unchecking them both would make it get out of your startup. Like say if I turn that on and look in CCleaner or something, my startup says UEFI download tool right there. If I uncheck it, it'll still be in the startup, but if I uncheck both of them, then it'll not be in the startup now. So if you have either one of these on, then it will go ahead and put in the startup for you. I did have a note down here, tooltips on everything in case you need help, like I said earlier. You can resize the window, obviously. There is a complete error report system the setup in this whole program. If you get any errors, you'll get a nice little error report window showing you what the error was and all that stuff. I can't really demonstrate that to you right now because there's not really a way to get an error, because I kind of made this program fail-proof as much as I could, so there's not really a way to get an error. But if you ever get one, you would see what it's like, and you can send me an error report, and it would help me fix the issue. People have did this countless times, and it's helped me fix a lot of issues. So I'm grateful for them sending me the error report, or else I would never even known about it or been able to fix it, because obviously I didn't know about it. So they have helped me tremendously on making this program fail-proof. So I do thank all of you, if any of you are watching this and you sent me an error report, thanks for sending one, because that has helped. Then the last thing I'll probably show is the debug settings, enable/disable debug settings. I never revealed the code you needed for this, but I thought I'd reveal it now because, just so people can see all there is to the program. And it doesn't really hurt anything to know what the debug settings are. It's just little things that are used for testing. And if anybody wants to use them for some certain purpose, they could. So you do debug, :space, and then off. We'll turn it off and it'll say debug settings has been disabled. Or if you want to turn them on, you do debug, :space, on. Then it'll say debug settings has been enabled. And debug settings are saved in the settings. All of them. So if I save, say I click one of these and I upload settings. And if I download them again, it will refresh this and update it, because they are saved and everything else. And reset settings will also reset debug settings, as it says. There's a little bit you can do in here. You can check off these two things, which will make it to where, regardless, you can keep clicking check server, even if you have an update, it'll just let you keep doing that. But that has been kind of implemented into those buttons where they come back even if there's an update found, but it's only implemented if you have the spoofing options on. But if you have this on, then you can just do it even if you didn't have spoofing on. It was a little thing to help me out at one point, and still could be used for it in the future. This is mainly just for me. Then you can spoof the program version to 0. If I check this off, you go over here, it'll say spoof to 0. And if I check the server, you'll see that it says an update has been found. And I can see everything. Or I can spoof the program to infinity. It'll say spoof to infinity right there. This little thing that tests stuff out. I can spoof UEFI version to infinity. And it'll say spoof to infinity. And if I have that on, I can't do spoof to 0. Or if I have a program infinity, I can't do 0, or 0 can't have infinity. That's basically the overview of debug settings. There used to be a testing thing button here, which was just a testing button for, I guess, debug type things. I thought since I'm revealing the debug code now that there's no sense for that button to be there, because it was mainly for like the debug build only, not the release build, because it really had no purpose for anybody else. It was just something to test something. These checkboxes actually did something that you could see. So I excluded it from the release builds, and it's only on the debug builds. And I'm the only one that really has access to debug builds, besides from a few friends that help me out with testing shit. And lastly, I should just show what it looks like when you start up. Say if I was to restart, this is the splash screen. Gets all your hardware information, gathers a PDB file, was it? I forget. Yeah, PDB file, which is for, if you get an error, it'll tell me what line it was at. That gathers that each time you launch. And if you can't get it, then it still goes on, but it's nice to have so I can see the line of which the error was at. There's also reset settings and like delete settings file option on that splash screen in case something went wrong and right after the splash screen happened, it just gave you an error and you couldn't get in the program anymore. If you clicked one of those, it would probably fix it. That has happened like one time where the settings gets messed up, but it's like a very rare thing. But they're there in case that ever happens. So I did think of everything I could just to make this as stable as it could be. But overall, that's it. Thanks for sitting through this long video. But I felt like I had to make it long, or else, I guess you really wouldn't understand everything. But I wanted to make this for people who really want to know all there is to know about this. And this is all that I did in here. There might have been a few things I forgot about or didn't touch up on, but this is mainly it. So, I guess thanks for watching. If you have any questions, comment, I guess like, anything. And this is just one of many programs I made, but this is the biggest one. It's the one I keep constant on. So if you like it, you want a BIOS update checker, then go ahead and get it. Tell me how you like it. And hope you all enjoy the program. So, thanks.